Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. A very good day to everyone, ladies and gentlemen, salam sejahtera, and selamat berjumpa lagi dalam online lecture. And this time we will again under the subject of corporate communication. We'll talk about chapter 10 on issues management. This is quite important issues, and I think it is something where we have to look into, where because issues in organization, issues in management is something where unavoidable and always occur, always happen in the organization, and we have to know on how to handle the issues in the organization. So in this topic or in this chapter, we'll talk about how issues evolve and how issues affect organization and how best to respond to issues through different communication strategies. So first of all, let's define an issue. Issue is a public concern about the organization's decision and operations. May also involve a point of conflict in opinions and judgments regarding those decisions and operations. And the third one is an unsettled matter which is ready for a decision. So we can pick an example like an issues in the organization, so issues about the organization, for example, like we talk about the previously the enforcement of what we call a uh, parking fees. Yeah, it is about having the machine where we can put our coin into the machine to park certain hours, or we have to buy a ticket for us to park our vehicles, and it can last for certain hours as well. So when the organization yeah actually making a decision to enforce any of the method, for example, for the public to use, and there will always be a pro and con, critics and supporters, and also the oppositions to the idea. Yeah, so this is an example of issue within the organizations when they implement something and it is something related to the community or public. So issues often involve a matter that is in contention with another party, such as activists, consumers, and publics. Often requires this decisive action to maintain reputations. And crisis, after an issue has become active, it may increase the pressure on an organization to do something about it. A crisis is an issue that requires decisive and immediate action from the organization. Yeah, for example, like when the public don't want to use the coupon or the ticket for parking, and they always left their uh, vehicles without the uh, parking ticket, and they being summoned by the what we call that officers, or the what we call the enforcer. So but they don't want to pay, so after all it become a crisis in the society, or which is involving the public. So what they can do in actually to solve this problem and to make the situation better. So the development of an issue in a crisis, yeah, it is on the left side. For example, we talk about pressure, and at the bottom part is about time. So in the beginning, so when the issue has just like occur in the in the organization, it is where at the early stage, and where there is no pressure yet from the public, so we call that as a latent stage. After all, after a few months, for example, and the pressure is slightly increasing, so the issues is becoming active. So if there is no corrective actions, or there is no uh, strategy uh, in curbing the issues from uh, becoming more serious, so it will, you know, based on the time frame, so and the increment of the pressure, it become intense. Then finally, yeah, after maybe 9 months, or maybe after a year, with a very steep or very drastic kind of pressure from the public, from the community, then it become a crisis. So when come to the crisis, it is very, very hard actually to solve, because it is more or less like involve big or large populations of people, and may involve many parties, yeah, in this crisis. So it is quite difficult and quite complicated at this stage to overcome the problem or the issues. So in order to manage the issues, the process of managing issues consists of environmental scanning, issues identification and analysis, issue-specific response strategies, and evaluation. In terms of environmental scanning, we can use a method or technique of DESTAP. Yeah, DESTAP D stand to demographic, A stand to economic, S stand to social, T stand to technological, E stand to ecological, and P is stand to political. So if we look at the issues, we have to look into which group of people actually affected of the issue, and how that issue will affect economy, social, technology, and ecological system of the country, and also the political issues of the country. So if it is really in a very serious uh, uh, what we call that stage, and all these indicators have shown the issues is highly related or giving high impact on this desktop elements, so then we have to take a very fast corrective action in order not to make this situation severe and uncontrolled. So besides that, under environmental scanning, we can also use SWOT analysis. And I think that almost all of us are very familiar with SWOT analysis, which is strength. We look at the strength of the solutions. We look at the weaknesses of the solution, opportunities of the solutions, and threats to the solution that we meet if over the issues that we are managing at the point of time. So in terms of issue identification analysis, yeah, it is where we determine the present intensity of the issue by considering how likely it is to trigger government action or impact on public opinion. And also, we look into the likelihood of the issue continuing if it is not solved, and the ability of the organization to influence its resolutions, yeah, if they have come out with their decision and the solution. So how much they have the ability to influence the public to accept that resolutions. And finally, it is about to analyze the key stakeholders group and public that are involved with the issue. So not to make it or spread uh, to a larger group, and influence other groups, yeah. So we have to look at the situations, and we have to stop while it is small, and we should not allow it grow big over the time. So as for this position important metrics, yeah, we have to look at this four quadrant of the situation, where we look at a post position one, and also issue support. Yeah, we look at the problematic, antagonistic, low priority, and supporter. So if we look at the situation in the problematic, where it is where we have like negative point on the oppositions, and we have like, maybe zero in terms of uh, uh, support, then we have to find some solution in terms of, you know, you know, although it is low priority, but we still have to tackle that. So if it is fall under this quadrant, or it is quadrant, we can say that there are a lot of support, but then in terms of oppositions, it is also like a uh, low in terms of position, so the supporter is there, so we can more or less like still have a chance to solve the problem. But when we come into the antagonistic quadrant, yeah, where both score is like 5 and 5, for example, so here it is a very serious situations, so it is require an urgent attendance of the issue, urgent corrections of the issue. So we have to go and look into that. So we have to immediately or uh, quickly fix the situations, and avoid that to become very serious. Okay, this is the life cycle of an issue. So the first quadrant is emergence. Yeah, when the issue emerge. Yeah, for example, we talk about the environmental issue. For example, what we call that the pollutions of the industry. So it will give an impact to the flora and fauna, to the ecological system. So it give impact to the community and policy, community and society, for example. And then it will be debated after that. This is where they want to promote the issues. They want to more or less like a remind the parties and any people who involved in this, and then they will start codifications of the issue. Maybe it means that they have endorse codification is endorse the issue, and it has to be they urge certain party to take an immediate actions of the issue, and then finally this is where they come to the consensus, they come to the agreement of the necessary action need to be taken over the issue, and the enforcement will be put on, and they actually try to fix the situation. This is the life cycle of an issue. Issue-specific response strategies is about buffering strategy. In certain situations where organizations tend to apply this buffering strategy and with an attempt to stonewall the issue and delays its development. And next, they have the bridging strategy where they involve organizations being open to change and recognizing the issue and its inevitability. So meaning that here, bridging a strategy is where you try to you make it relevant, and you relate yourself, and then you make sense of the issues, and you bridge yourself, your organization with the community or the public, and to tell the public that yes, you are there and you are hearing and you are doing something actually in order to confront the issues or in order to solve the issue. And finally, it's about advocacy strategy, which it is an attempt to try to change stakeholder expectation and public opinions on an issue through issues campaign and lobbying. So advocacy strategy normally will be done where you have no other choice not to do the transformations or changes in the organization, but you are there to convince people that you are not involved with such activities, with such issues, and you convince people that your operation is not giving any harm to the public, to the flora and fauna, and so forth. So, uh, uh, using this kind of campaign and lobbying may involve a lot of money, but finally, you want people to accept uh, your organization as it is, and to perceive that you are not harmful as what other parties had been we call that promoting, or they have more or less like highlight they may highlight to the public about the danger of your organization. So they can use either first maybe the buffering strategy, and then bridging strategy and advocacy strategy in responding to the issue or specific issues for your organization or for the organization. So it is about choice of strategy often depends on the intensity of the issue. Yeah, whether you want to buffer, you want to bridge or advocacy, it depends on the intensity of the issue and the importance of an issue to the organization, stakeholder groups, and the values and belief of managers in an organization. If you believe that you have to tackle the issue fast, then you have to start bridging. You should use bridging strategy. If you think that um, that issues doesn't seems to be very big and it doesn't lead to a very serious situation, then you just like buffer using buffering strategy, and you might divert the attentions of other people to something else, and then at that time you might find something else to overcome or remedy the situation and so forth. Yeah. And next is about evaluation. Evaluation is continuous evaluation knows what the stage of the issue. It is very, very important to really diagnose the state of the issues to for you to take a very, very what we call that bright bright strategy in solving the situation, and also know whether there is still an opportunity to influence public debates on the issue in question. Yeah. So it is also where some organization they may put up their watchdog to really observe whether the issue is still occur, still appear in the public, and people still talking about that issue not. And evaluate the success of the chosen strategy. Also important to see how you may want to repeat the same strategy if similar situation happen, and it can be used by other organizations as well to imitate the strategy for their own success. And influencing public policy. Yeah, for example, advocacy strategy is about influencing the public policy or influencing the public to really accept you as it is, or to accept what you have done, and then to look at what you are doing is nothing harmful to the organization, to the ecology, and so forth. So influencing public policy can be either indirect influence, where you advocate a certain framing to influence government, or through the direct influence where using lobbying, political action committees, and industry coalitions, where an alliance of organizations in the same industry who lobby or donate to influence policy formation process. So it is very, very important, yeah, when you are able to diagnose stage of the issues, and you are able to know which strategies that fit into that situation for at that point of time, to make sure whatever you do lead to a great success of your organization's action. So that's all on the issues management. I hope that you get some idea on this topic. With that, thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a nice day, and see you again in the next lecture. With that, thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to everyone.